How are we getting on, people? Luke here from LAGFX. We are back today with a new case study video, and today we're going to be talking about XRP. As we know, XRP has had some insane price spikes over the years. First in 2018, again in 2021, and now once more in 2025. But here's the thing, each time the reasons behind these massive moves were completely different. In 2018, it was pure hype and speculation. In 2021, it was a legal battle with the SEC. And now in 2025, we are seeing an entirely new force at play. So with all that being said, what's really going on here? Why does XRP keep experiencing these explosive breakouts? And most importantly, can this latest rally finally push XRP to a new all-time high? Let's break all of it down, because if history tells us anything, this might just be the beginning. All right, so let's rewind to late 2017. Bitcoin had just hit $20,000 for the first time. The crypto market was in full beast mode. People were seeing 10x, 20x, even 100x gains overnight. And XRP, it went parabolic, shooting up to $3.40. This, as we know, is its all-time high. But why? What fueled this insane rally? Reason number one, XRP was marketed as the future of banking. At the time, Ripple was pushing huge partnerships with banks and financial institutions. Investors believed that XRP could replace SWIFT and revolutionize cross-border payments. This narrative was powerful, creating a massive FOMO as retail investors piled in. Reason number two, the ICO boom and the altcoin hype. 2017 to 2018 was the wild west of crypto. ICOs, initial coin offerings, were raising millions of dollars overnight. People were throwing money at anything with blockchain in its name. And as we know, XRP was already a top-tier altcoin, so it naturally became a go-to investment for retail FOMO. Reason number three, Bitcoin's rise lifted the entire market. Bitcoin was the leader of the pack. When it pumped, everything pumped. As Bitcoin surged, people started looking for the next big thing, and XRP was one of the biggest gainers. But then, the crash came. Bitcoin topped out, and when Bitcoin falls, altcoins crash even harder. XRP plunged over 90% in the following month. And as you can see here, price came down to trade back into what was an area of demand. Now, was this a lesson learned? Massive hype can pump the price, but if the fundamentals don't deliver, the crash is just as brutal. Now, fast forward to 2021, and XRP is back in the spotlight. But this time, it wasn't just another hype cycle. It was a battle between Ripple and the SEC.
I've kind of jokingly suggested that when people talk about regulatory uncertainty, it's often people because they don't like the regulation. They're not actually regulatory uncertainty. If you think about the XRP transaction from one regulated financial institution, a bank or a payment provider, they're doing what's called a KYC check, which references Know Your Customer. There's a global regulatory framework around KYC. That's at the both endpoints of an XRP transaction, into and out of. So I think the regulatory certainty actually is much better than people realize. It's just educating banks, regulators about how it actually works.
So what happened? XRP's legal battle with the SEC was turning into Ripple's favor. The SEC had sued Ripple in December 2020, claiming XRP was an unregistered security. This lawsuit scared investors away, causing XRP to tank. But by April 2021, Ripple started winning key court rulings. And as optimism grew, so did XRP's price. Reason number two, the entire crypto market was pumping. So 2021 was a full-blown crypto bull run. Bitcoin was smashing past $60,000 and Ethereum was hitting new highs. Institutional investors were pouring billions into crypto, fueling another XRP rally. But then the crash came. Bitcoin topped out in May 2021, triggering a massive market-wide sell-off. The SEC lawsuit dragged on, creating uncertainty for XRP investors. And as you can see, XRP dropped over 60% in just 2 months. Again, was this a lesson learned? Even strong news can't hold up price if the overall market turns bearish. And now, here we are in 2025. XRP has just had another explosive rally, but this time, the reasons are completely different from 2018 and 2021. So what's driving the price this time? Well, reason number one, XRP's utility is finally being realized. Unlike in 2018 when XRP was driven purely by hype, this time we are seeing real adoption. Banks and financial institutions are actively using XRP for cross-border settlements. The token is no longer just a speculative asset, it has real-world demand. Reason number two, Ripple's victory over the SEC. In 2023, Ripple officially won its case against the SEC, confirming that XRP is not a security. This removed years of uncertainty, opening the door for institutional investors. With legal clarity, XRP has been relisted on major exchanges, driving demand even higher. Reason number 3, global adoption of crypto payments. By 2025, crypto payments are becoming mainstream. XRP is being used not just by banks, but also by businesses, governments, and even central banks for fast transactions. This, as we know, is creating a supply shock where demand is increasing, but supply remains fixed. So unlike past cycles, this XRP rally might actually have some long-term staying power. So what I'm going to do now is actually break down the technical side of things. I've been watching XRP closely, and here is what I'm seeing on the charts. So as we can see, price looks to be somewhat distributing, and this is due to the fact that price has recently spiked. With every impulse and with every spike, there needs to be some kind of correction. And whilst spikes happen, what we often see is something called a distribution. A distribution is where supply is introduced into a market and demand is removed. And the reason for this is because investors who bought in as low as this point here are now selling off some of their coins, which would remove demand from the market. So if we have demand being removed by people selling off those tokens, as a result, we are going to see a flip in the S&D balance. Now, when I look at technical analysis, I look at order flow and I look at the supply and demand in a market. And what we can see here on the weekly time frame is a huge area of demand, somewhere I believe price may dip down to before its next big rally. Now on this time frame, it just looks like a wick to the upside followed by a wick to the downside. But as we go down on the time frames, you'll see the sell orders have been left waiting. Once price trades down and into this area, we can expect a load of demand to be introduced and all the supply that has been introduced as of recently to be removed. So I'm talking sell orders from this high, sell orders from this high, and sell orders from this high, all being removed and a load of demand being introduced here, which will essentially drive price higher. Now, just to further back my theory with my technical analysis, you can see how price came to liquidate another area, a wick to the upside, followed by a wick to the downside. We dragged this across, price traded perfectly into the 50% mark and drove price higher once again. Heading down to the 15-minute time frames, we can see that more fractally, there is a fair value gap that was left. Price has recently traded down and into this and has since been trading us in a bullish way. So the high that created the lowest low within this move, we have seen price break above. Now this tells me that there is more demand in the market than there is supply. And what we are seeing as a result of this is bullish structure being printed out. Now just heading back to the higher time frames, looking now at the 30 minutes, I'm not saying that this bullish structure is now going to continue and this is going to be the start of the next rally, but what I am saying is there is more demand in the market currently than there is supply, so we are going to see a push to the upside. Now, should the demand in this market run out and should supply start to outweigh the demand, we will then see price begin trading us lower further, and that will continue until enough demand is introduced to flip this S&D balance back to the upside. Now you can see here that we have a huge area of inefficiency, i.e. a fair value gap. So price may trade up and into this, introduce supply, which will then flip the balance back to the downside. And we may see price then go short once again, trading goes down and into this large area of demand. But once price trades into this large area of demand, this is honestly where I expect price to take its next rally to the upside. So as you can imagine, there are probably a lot of people that are quite scared and are quite uncertain with the future of XRP. So we may have a lot of people removing demand, selling off their coins. That's only going to encourage price to trade lower. But once price trades down to a reasonable price, we're going to have people like myself buying into this market, purchasing large sums of XRP, which as a result is going to increase the value of XRP and should give us that flip to the upside. So if you are someone that is currently in on XRP at the moment, I wouldn't be so quick to sell off your coins. I would wait and see how price plays out over the course of the next 6 months. I truly believe that we are in the midst of the next big spike in this market. especially with how fundamentals are playing out at the moment. It's just a case of price trading down to a point where the big fish can buy in masses, taking advantage of people's shortfall and advantage of people's uncertainty before price spikes. So me personally, I will be holding on to the coins I have. Best believe I'll be continuing to invest in XRP. Should price trade us down to this point here, so $1.40, I will be buying XRP and I'll be holding this coin from time to come. I truly believe that there is a future in this token, and now more than ever, there are a lot of things fundamentally that are backing XRP for another big rally. So just to summarize on this video, yes, price is currently bullish because price has recently traded into an area of demand. So that is going to encourage price to trade higher. Yes, I do believe price may go short once again. So giving us temporary bullishness up and into this area of inefficiency before trading goes lower again. That's going to cause more uncertainty, more people to sell off. But then once price trades into this area of demand, I truly believe we are going to see the next big pump. Now it'll be interesting to revisit this video in 6 to 12 months to see exactly how price has played out. Now at no point have I said that I'm a crypto expert, but one thing is for sure, I do know my way around a forex market, and I do have a lot of experience and vast knowledge around order flow and taking advantage of supply and demand balances. Now although this video has been somewhat brief, I hope it has been informative. For those of you who are holding, let's see where price ends up in 6 to 12 months. If you are someone that is looking to buy into this market, I'd wait for price to trade down and into a valid area of demand, i.e. this one here, giving you guys the best possible opportunity to buy in at a cheaper price. And if you're someone that is thinking of selling off your coins due to this uncertainty and this range in market, then maybe think twice and do some more research on the fundamentals behind XRP and Ripple. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or queries with regards to my analysis or the fundamentals that I have mentioned today, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I want to say a massive thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.